Hi there, I'm Rodney, and in today's video, we're going to look at how Photoshop's new AI will help you in retouching portraits. All right, welcome back. And so what we're going to do today, we're looking at how Photoshop's new AI, whether it's in Camera Raw or whether it's in Lightroom, can help you in quickly and easily retouching images. Historically, what I teach in Photoshop is actions on how to lighten the whites of the eyes, the colors of the eyes, the teeth, lighten them, desaturate the whites so that everything looks more natural. And we create actions to do all that stuff. Well, Photoshop has taken and made our work a whole lot easier. So we're going to show you today how we can quickly and easily do all those steps using the AI within Camera Raw or Lightroom. I'm going to be doing it in Camera Raw. It's the same process either way. So we're going to start off with Hailey here from the beautiful Palm Springs. And with this image here, we've got great light in her eyes already. However, the highlights on her skin here are a little brighter than her face. And so we don't want our eyes coming down to her body and her skin. We want it to come into the face. So AI is perfect for this. We're going to click on the brush tool here. And as we do that, you'll notice that the people section here at the bottom spent a couple seconds, the wheel was turning, and all of a sudden it's identified person 1 in our photograph. So we're going to click on person 1. And we've got a couple of options. We've got the entire person, or we can choose the face, body, skin, eyebrows, eye whites, the eye colors, iris and pupil, lips, teeth if there's teeth showing, and hair. So the selections aren't perfect, but they're pretty good. So we're going to just click on face, body. We're going to leave the eyebrows alone for this, but we're going to certainly hit the whites of the eyes and the colors, the lips. We're not going to touch the teeth because we don't have teeth showing in this. And we're going to click the hair. Beware with the hair, the selections aren't always perfect and it can tend to give you a little bit of a ghosting look around your image. So just beware of that. Now, we've got those things selected. Here's the important thing. You need to click on create 6 separate masks. If you don't do that, it'll create one mask with all those things and it's just a nightmare. So we're going to create 6 separate masks. We're going to click create and boom, we've got all those areas done as unique masks in Camera Raw. So hair, often, especially if we're photographing a dark haired person with a dark background, we're going to bring the shadows up on that and we can bring the exposure up just to show detail. Use whatever you need to use in your particular image, but just beware. Again, if you're playing with the exposure on this, you do tend to get ghosting around the hair and it looks really nasty. Lips. This is one of those things often photographers look at going, hey, we can darken the lips a little bit. Maybe you want to add a bit of a color tone to the lips. You can do that. If you really want to go crazy, you can use the hue and change the color completely, add lipstick that's going to match a certain thing. Maybe you go, okay, we've got this pendant and earring here. We want to try to add something that's going to match that. You can certainly do that. I'm just going to bring this back to 0 where we were at, and I just darken them down a little bit and added a bit of color temperature to that, temperature and tone. And maybe even a little bit of saturation. Just to add, subtlety is always a big thing. For the pupils, for this, I'm going to brighten them up. And Hailey's got great bright eyes, but I'm just going to brighten them a little bit. And I'm going to bring the saturation up. Typically, that's what I will do with this, just to make them pop. I love it when eyes pop. Now we're going to do the whites of the eyes. And again, we're going to bring this up. We don't want that blown out white, nasty, it looks fake. That looks horrible. We don't want that. We just want to brighten them up a little bit, just so that it pops a touch. And then when we do that, we also want to bring our saturation down a little bit. Again, being very careful. We're going to zoom in on this when we do it. We want to make sure that it doesn't look fake. And so if you look at kind of the before and after, everything we're doing looks realistic, and it's important that we keep things looking realistic. Now we're going to go to body skin, and here's a point where we had some highlights that were brighter than her face. So we're going to just bring this down a little bit. 0.2 is good for all around, maybe 0.25, but I'm going to bring the highlights down, and I'm going to bring the whites down. And often when we do this, we end up with a bit more of a gray tone. I don't want that, so I'm going to warm it up with a bit of temperature as well. So again, that is just taking it, bringing the tones down a little bit, warming it up just a touch, because when we darken things, they usually tend to go gray. Next, we're going to go to the face, and we're just going to lighten that up just a touch, because we want the highlight, the focus of an image always goes to the face. So we're going to brighten it up, but we don't want this to be too bright. So we're going to bring our highlights down just a touch, our whites down, even those tones out. Even though we're brightening up the face as a whole, we're taking the hottest, brightest parts of that skin and we're toning them down. So within a couple of quick seconds, using Adobe's AI masking, we're simply going from this to that. And again, here we've toned down the skin so that our eyes are coming into her face, into her eyes. And we've lightened the whites of the skin, the whites of the eyes, and the colors of the eyes, made it pop, darkened the lips a little bit. And it's all, again, every single one of these has its own mask. It's very simple. Click done or open if you want to bring it into Photoshop, and continue to retouch. So thank you, Hailey from Palm Springs, for that. We're going to try this on one more person, and the image we're going to use for this is actually we're going to go to Kate for this. This is sort of from a more of a fine art kind of a shoot, and it's got a darker tone, darker background, but the shoulder ends up being brighter than the face here, and we've got two different skin tones. So we're going to see what we can do here. First of all, I'm going to take the whole image, I'm going to brighten it up a touch. I'm going to bring the highlights and whites down just a touch on it, and I'm going to warm everything up a little bit. That's just a master overall thing. Now we're going to go in here and let Photoshop find our people. We're going to click on our person, and again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click every one of these layers that we want to play with. If we look at the teeth, the AI has noticed there's like two little bits of teeth there. We're not going to do that with that. Either way, I want the whole teeth or nothing. We're going to grab the hair. We're going to create 7 separate masks and create. Now, again, with the hair, with this, we've got a dark hair, dark background. So we're just going to brighten it up a touch. But if we go too bright, you'll notice, again, it's got that halo around it. We don't want to do that. We're just touching it up a little bit, opening up the shadows a little bit, and trying to keep it very subtle. With the lips, we're going to brighten those up just a touch, and we're going to bring the saturation down on that one. I want it to be very subtle and not overstated. The eyes, Kate's got great eyes. They're dark, so we're going to brighten them up a fair bit, and we're going to bring some saturation into that. Now we're going to go to the whites of the eyes, and we're going to zoom in on this when we do this because we want to make sure we do it right. We're going to bring the whites up a bit. We're going to bring the saturation of those whites down a bit, and we're going to look at before and after with the eyes. Very nice. Excellent job on that. Great job, Photoshop. The eyebrows, we're going to brighten that up a little bit. If you want to add kind of a fullness to the brow, you can darken it, and it will actually add a bunch of fullness to the eyebrow. If you want to thin the eyebrow, you can brighten it, and it will actually thin it. Again, it's not a perfect thing. It's AI. It's not perfection. But we're just going to pop that up to 0.1. There we go. Now we're going to go down to body skin here. And again, our eye was drawn to the shoulder because it's the brightest part. So we're going to bring the exposure down a little bit. We're going to bring the highlights down the whites down on that, and then we're going to bring that exposure back to where we think it should be. And I think right about there is good. We don't want the body to disappear. We just want it to not be super bright. So we're going to bring it right about minus 0.25. We're going to bring a saturation up a touch, and we're going to warm it up a little bit. Again, when we darken things down, they look great. Now we're going to go to the last mask, which is the face. And with this, we're going to brighten it up a little bit. But we're going to take our highlights and our whites, and we're going to tone them down a little bit. We're going to warm up our tones and bring our saturation up just a touch. And before and after, that's a couple seconds in Photoshop. And that's the beauty of this AI. It does a great job of lightening the eyes. You can select individual spaces, clean things up quickly and easily. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, Adobe. You've made our lives easier. So that's Adobe AI for both Photoshop and Lightroom. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider liking and leaving me a comment. As well, if you got something out of this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.